All right, folks, today we're diving into one of the most intriguing and mind-bending government documents ever declassified. In 1983, a U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel named Wayne McDonnell was tasked with investigating a program known as the Gateway Experience, developed by the Monroe Institute. McDonnell didn't just study it, he filed a detailed report breaking down how the whole thing might actually work. And let me tell you, it is absolutely fascinating. So go grab a cup of coffee or tea, buckle up, and let's journey into the nature of reality, human consciousness, and what's possible in the unseen world. This is the Metaphysical Moment. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is or was the Gateway Experience? Well, it's a series of techniques developed by Robert Monroe to help people access altered states of consciousness. Think of it this way. It's a way to train your brain to move beyond its normal limitations. Participants use something called Hemisync technology. They're binaural beats played through headphones to synchronize the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. And the result is deep relaxation, heightened awareness, and, for some, out-of-body experiences. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, McDonald took this very seriously. See, he dove into the physics, biology, and even metaphysics of what might be happening when people claim to leave their bodies. So, how's it work? Well, McDonald starts by explaining how our brains operate on electrical energy. When both hemispheres synchronize, they produce a frequency that aligns with certain states of consciousness. For example, in deep relaxation, our brain waves slow down to what's called the theta state. That's the sweet spot for creativity, intuition, and, according to Monroe, expanded awareness. Now here is where it gets wild. See, McDonnell compared the human mind to a hologram. You know how a hologram isn't just a flat image, but a 3D representation of data encoded in light? Well, he argued that our brains work in a similar way, processing information not just linearly, but as part of a broader, interconnected field of energy. Essentially, he's saying that our consciousness isn't trapped in our heads. It's part of something much bigger. Now, bigger like what? Like the universe? Well, exactly. See, he called it the absolute infinity. In this theory, everything, time, space, matter, consciousness, it's all part of an infinite energy field. The Gateway Experience, then, is about training your brain to tune into this field. So, does this mean that out-of-body experiences have now been proven to be real? Well, according to McDonnell, they just might be. Here's how he explains it. When you enter a deep meditative state, your brain waves synchronize, your body becomes deeply relaxed, and your consciousness detaches from its normal sense of space and time. This is what some people describe as an out-of-body experience. Well, he even broke it down scientifically. McDonnell suggested that what we perceive as leaving the body might actually be our consciousness shifting focus. Instead of being stuck in our physical bodies, it tunes into the broader energy field, kind of like a changing the channel on a TV. And in this expanded state, people claim to access other dimensions, encounter spiritual entities, or gain insights about their own lives. But of course, McDonnell was careful to note that this is a hypothesis, not something we can measure or prove in a lab. Yet, one of the most fascinating parts of the report is McDonnell's take on time and space. He argues that time isn't linear. Instead, it's like a big eternal now, with past, present, and future all existing simultaneously. Our brains, however, process time in a linear way because that's how we function in the physical world. But if you step outside the physical world through something like the Gateway Experience, you might be able to perceive time differently. This could explain why people in altered states claim to see the future or revisit their own past lives. It's not magic, it's just a different way of processing reality. Another key piece is intention. McDonnell emphasized that your mind is like a laser. The more focused your intention, the more you can influence your experience. So if you're trying to have an out-of-body experience, your intention acts as the guide. It's like setting a GPS for your consciousness. And this doesn't just apply to OBEs. McDonnell suggested that focused intention could potentially influence physical reality. Does that ring a bell? This ties into concepts like manifestation and the law of attraction. The idea is that our thoughts have energy, and when we focus them, we can create real-world outcomes. Okay, so this all sounds pretty out there, right? But what's the practical use of something like this? Why did the military even care? That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. See, the CIA and the Army were interested in this program for a few reasons. First and foremost, there's a potential for intelligence gathering. If someone could train their mind to access information beyond the physical senses, think remote viewing, they could gather intel without ever stepping foot in hostile territory. And let's not forget about personal development. McDonald believed that mastering these techniques could reduce stress, improve creativity, and even enhance problem-solving skills. Imagine the possibilities if more people tapped into their full mental potential. Of course, not everyone buys into this. McDonnell himself admitted that some parts of the gateway experience are difficult to prove scientifically. And there's always the possibility that people's experiences are just elaborate hallucinations. Here's the thing. Even if it's all in your head, it's still your head. So the benefits, relaxation, clarity, creativity, they're all real. And that is what makes this document so compelling. See, it's not just about whether out-of-body experiences are real. It's about exploring the boundaries of human consciousness and asking, what if? What if there's more to us than we think? What if we're capable of so much more? That, my friends, is why we love diving to these topics. The Gateway Report might not have all the answers, but it does open the door to some incredible questions. So what do you think? Are we just scratching the surface of human potential? Or is this all just a fascinating thought experiment? Oh, whatever your take, one thing's for sure. The journey into consciousness is just beginning. If you're curious about exploring these states for yourself, check out the Monroe Institute or look into binaural beats. And if you do have a wild experience, let us know. We'd love to hear your story. I mean, after all, there might just be some psychic spies floating out of body right around you right now. Okay, until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, there's always more to discover. We'll see you on the next episode of The Metaphysical Moment here in the Skeptic Metaphysicians.